What's up? Play the Sports Gamer here. And at first, I was going to do a Jimmy G going to the Raiders video. And I turned to Josh McDaniels, a loser before, and now it will always be a loser. We got an article here. Josh McDaniels has proven he's the loser we all thought he was. He got the head coaching job as the Denver Broncos, and they were a pretty decent team when he took over, and he totally destroyed that team. And I'm going to show you another article explaining why he destroyed that team. And after that destruction, after he went to the Rams, they went back to the Patriots as offensive coordinator. I didn't think any other team would hire him because of that. But then the Raiders, for some reason, hired him. When everyone thought the coach 2 years ago would keep the job because he took the Raider team that was all messed up because of the John Gruden situation, and he took them to the playoffs and probably would have moved the franchise ahead this past year. But nope, they hired McDaniels, and look what they got. They got a 6-11 record and not make the playoffs and have a highly disappointing season. This article says, I must come clean about something because I'm a little embarrassed for not thinking it was possible. Like most of you have already understood who Josh McDaniels was as NFL head coach. He's the latest Bill Belichick disciple in over his head, trying to instill the Patriot way wherever he goes, forgetting that Belichick is the essential ingredient. He's also the man who once ditched the Indianapolis Colts at the altar roughly 24 hours after agreeing to be their head coach, and who tried to cheat with the Denver Broncos. He's pathetic, I know. However, it's kind of funny I mentioned an altar. So let's look at the Denver Broncos. Mile High Misery. Josh McDaniels' destruction of the Denver Broncos. His first thing he did, the Broncos traded knowledge for faith. They knew what they had in Jay Cutler, a young cannon-armed quarterback who led them to 7 wins in his rookie campaign. They merely hoped Kyle Orton was an average quarterback who would improve under the expert tutelage of McDaniels. Expert, as you see in the quotes. Although the Broncos were giving up on their 25-year-old face of the organization for a man once benched in favor of Rex Grossman, that's really embarrassing. The move made some sense because Cutler was never known as a team player. He had an attitude, but he also had the talent. They're saying all things considered, Denver had no choice but to trade Cutler. They might have been lucky to get as much as they did. They probably would have been even luckier if they kept him because Kyle Orton was a horrible quarterback for the Bears. Even though he took the Bears to the Super Bowl that one year, they relied totally on their defense, not Kyle Orton. But if a risky move ends up backfiring, the offending executive or coach is almost always shown the door. McDaniels has doubled down on his risk. Not only would they have pulled the trigger on disaster, his tenuous relationship with Cutler had made a disaster necessary in the first place. Josh McDaniels was on the hot seat before he even coached his first game. Let's not forget, he also traded Brandon Marshall, who was a pretty good wide receiver. All in all, not one of the Broncos' 18 trades could be described as anything other than a disaster, with McDaniels as GM. Out of the 2009 and 2010 draft picks, only Eric Decker, he of 36 career catches, and Tebow have contributed in any way, marginal as those contributions may be. Fans should be horrified. How can anyone be allowed to wreak this much havoc on a single franchise? The only explanation involves an image of Broncos owner Pat Bowlen curled up in a corner, rocking back and forth and muttering to himself, and how it just happened so fast. 2 years, he destroyed a franchise. It took many years for them to recover from all those trades he made and getting lack of talent in return. This is what I mean. I didn't think he would get another head coaching job, but the Vegas Raiders did it. They hired him, and now they're reaping what they sow. For the life of me, I never thought McDaniels could stoop as low as spoiling one of his players' wedding news. That's what we learned Tuesday after Las Vegas Raiders traded the former Pro Bowl tight end Darren Waller to the Giants. More than anything, we learned McDaniels is just as annoying off the field as he is on the field. And not only did you trade your second best receiver, Darren Waller, who is top 5 probably tight ends in the league, you anger your top wide receiver with these moves. Devontae Adams is not happy at all that they're making these moves. And to top that off, you angered your number 1 running back, Josh Jacobs, who led the league in rushing last year, was looking for a nice contract extension, yet they franchise him. And I know Josh McDaniels is not the GM of the Raiders, it's Mike Mayock, but I am positive Josh McDaniels has a hand in these moves. So for the running back, you only get one maybe 2 big contracts in your career. And this was Josh Jacobs' opportunity to have a huge contract with either the Raiders or someone else. Yet the Raiders franchised him. Yes, he's making a lot of money, but it's only a 1-year contract. And who knows, he could get hurt next year and ruin his chance for a huge contract. So let's say you trade Waller, you anger Devontae Adams, you anger Josh Jacobs, and you sign Jimmy G. Yes, Jimmy G is a solid quarterback, but he's not the quarterback the Raiders need. The Raiders' defense is not that good at all. They need a quarterback to sling it all over the field, to keep them in the game, to keep pace with what the defense is giving up. And Jimmy G is not that guy. He can only throw the ball 5 to 10 yards at a time. He does not have the arm or the accuracy to throw it deep. This was not a good move. And it's just Josh McDaniels. And they're talking about he's forming the Patriots West. They just signed Jacoby Myers to a huge contract, which he's an okay wide receiver, but not that great of a wide receiver. And they got Jimmy G. And these tactics, most of the time, do not work out when they sign these old, unproven players to this new team. Sometimes it just not work out. And I don't think this is going to work out for the Raiders. I personally think they're going to be worse than that 6-11 record from last year. They're going to lose these shootouts. I think they could have got probably a better quarterback to fit this scheme than Jimmy G. So Josh McDaniels, as I round this up, is a loser, and he's a destroyer of teams. And he's proven that again. He proved it with the Denver Broncos, and now he's proven it with the Las Vegas Raiders. And the Indianapolis Colts should count their blessings that he snubbed them for their head coach job, or he would have ruined that team too. So what do you guys think? Do you think Josh McDaniels a bad coach, bad GM, an all-around bad person? Or do you think he just has run into bad luck? So please let me know. Subscribe, comment below. Thanks. See ya.